Texas Stars are set for 3 against the Cleveland Monsters to begin what is arguably the busiest stretch for the Texas Stars coming up this season. Hi everyone, I'm Brian Tossi breaking down this one for the Stars and the Monsters as the Texas Stars begin a stretch of 15 games across the next 24 days. 11 of those games will be played away from home here at HEB Center. But the Stars focusing on that series against the Cleveland Monsters to get it going this weekend. 3 games against the Monsters, and after Texas has pulled off points in 7 of the last 8, the only disappointing notion of that is that they've dropped 3 straight against the Colorado Eagles. During those games, the Stars were able to learn quite a bit about themselves, including playing tight games right down to the wire.
I don't know if you can fault the effort. I thought some of our decisions with the puck in that second game were costly, especially on the power play in the second night. So I don't think it was necessarily an effort miscue. It was more of an execution and understanding the situation with a 1-goal lead. So those things have been addressed and we've worked on them. The night prior, I don't think there was an effort issue. We were 11 seconds away from getting 2 points and we had a breakdown within our structure and we were ready to move on from it. So it wasn't like we gave up a seam or they were crazy plays. It was a play that we know how to handle and we did it on that one and we've moved on since then.
Now following the series with the Colorado Eagles, the Stars turn their focus towards the Monsters, and they will play 3 games in 4 nights against Cleveland, starting on Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 o'clock Eastern Time. It'll be the first matchup between the Stars and the Monsters in over 3 years, the last matchup coming back in 2018. Now the Stars pull into Cleveland with one of the top offenses in the American Hockey League, second only to the Chicago Wolves in goals for per game, and a lot of that has to do with their pace of play and their effort, not to mention the top rookie scorer in the American Hockey League in Riley Damiani, who also is joined by Adam Maskeren as some of the top 10 scorers in the AHL this season.
That's a staple in our identity. We want to work, we want to play the game fast, and I think those things go hand in hand. We want to defend quickly, so we have that energy for offense, and you have to be willing to engage and come out with a strong effort if you want to play the style we want to play. And I think for the most part, we've done that. But it's also key to remember that doesn't mean you're going to play mistake-free. What we're talking about effort-wise is our foundation. And you're still going to make mistakes throughout the game, which we saw. And it's important that we learn from the mistakes. We correct them, and then we do our best not to make them again. And if we do, we don't compound them into a bigger mistake than a simple mistake.
Going into Cleveland, it will be a small homecoming for players like Derek Barash and Nick Mutri, who both spent time with the Monsters in their pro careers. Not to mention a familiar face staring back on the blue line, Gavin Bayreuther, jumping over to the Cleveland Monsters during the offseason. But arguably one of the biggest keys for this Texas Stars team will be starting on time. The Monsters have outscored teams 13-3 so far in the first period alone, and they've only failed to score the opening goal once in their opening 9 games this season. Texas, on the other hand, when scoring first this year, 5-0-2 in those 7 games this year.
Yeah, it's always big when you can get the first goal. I think you look at that last series we were in, though, you look at the Tucson series, it is important that you keep your heads for 60. And I think that's probably the bigger message in terms of, I know you brought up effort for 60. I think it's keeping that mental edge and that mental toughness for 60. Because yes, the throwing the first punch, getting the first goal is big. Analytics would show it's important in getting 2 points on the night. But at the end of the day, staying engaged, having mental toughness, there's going to be highs and lows throughout a 60-minute contact test, and I think that's a bigger test, is having that mental edge for 60 and persevering through some ups and downs.
Make sure you check in for all 3 of the games between the Stars and Monsters this weekend by logging on and watching through AHLTV.com. You can also listen live through TexasStars.com/listen. And don't forget to follow along to all of our social media outlets as well. Texas and Cleveland kicking off a 6-game season series, and it's sure to be an entertaining start here on Thursday night. I'm Brian Tosti, and thanks for watching this series preview.